What's poppin'? It's your girl, Mommy Tiff. ComplexCon is pulling up to Vegas. 2 nights of incredible performances, 300 brands dropping exclusive heat, and the culture all in one place. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now at ComplexCon.com and be a part of the takeover. I'll see you there. We out.
I've been online a long time, but I wasn't making enough money to provide for a family. I was making like full tank of gas money for a long time, then like cell phone bill money, then light bill money, then maybe rent, half a rent.
What's poppin'? It's your girl, Mommy Tiff, here with Complex News, and today I am here with none other than actor, comedian, author, showrunner, podcast host. Did I say influencer? Quite literally everything under the sun. KevOnStage.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me, Mama Tiff.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. How are you today?
I'm great. I had a good breakfast. I had a good night's sleep. I worked out. I've been drinking water. I had some fruit.
Okay.
It's good.
Skin is clear.
Skin is clear.
Period.
I'm feeling great.
That's awesome. You're happy to be in New York?
I love New York.
Okay.
My wife and I really love, it's a great American city. We love to visit. We come here sometimes just for fun, you know, often for work, but it's good, man. You got the hustle and bustle. It's just like hustle. Like
Yes.
people be like getting after it and yelling and horns honking and heat. And I love it. Feels good.
Well, the East Coast is happy to have you.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Now, your real name, government, is Kevin Fredericks, and you're
Yes.
from El Paso, Texas. And you grew up as, I like to say, certified church kid, and that's kind of really where your comedy journey has started. Can you tell us, for those who don't know who you are, how did you get the name KevOnStage?
Very simple. I was tweeting at a time where people were getting fired for their tweets. And I wasn't even really tweeting reckless. I just didn't want to get fired. I ended up getting fired anyway, but not related to tweets. So my @ was at Kevin Fredericks. And then I was just like, man, I got to at least make it a little difficult for them to find who I actually am. And I was doing stand-up all the time. So I was like, well, I'm Kev, and I be on stage. So I'll just be KevOnStage. And that's it.
That's
like,
it.
there's literally no more thought than that. I probably thought about it for 12 seconds and changed it. Had I known that would become my name, I probably would have put more thought into it. But now people think my name is Kevon.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize my name is Kevin. And some people actually think my last name is Stage. And I'm like, you've never met nobody whose last name is Stage. And they're like, there's all kind of last names. So, you know, it is what it is. If I could do it again, I would have never changed my name. And people just call me Kevin Fredericks, but it's fine. KevOnStage, it has a good little flow to it.
Yeah, I think also, too, like, it's during that time in the internet culture. That's why I go by Mommy Tiff, because it's like it's that time in the internet where we all had our usernames as our like online names.
Absolutely.
For real. So yeah, I think that's dope.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't mind. I just like my last name is Fredericks, and Fredericks in Hollywood is like a brand already. And I was like, well, I could have worked with that, but it's okay.
It all worked out.
People still know who I am.
Yes.
That's really all that matters.
Exactly. Now, speaking of the internet, you've been online for a moment now. Like, we've seen you grow over the years. I want to know, what was, like, your first viral moment, or what would you say is your first viral moment?
My first viral moment, and this is not to brag, actually not even bragging because it's not the first video, but the first thing that went supremely viral was Stuff Black Church Girls Say and Stuff Black Parents Say. This was at the time where like Stuff Girls Say was going viral, and everybody was doing their version of that. And I remember Billy Sorrell is a comedian I know, and he did Stuff Black Girls Say. And it was one thing to see like, you know, Francesca do it and like all these other people that I didn't know. It was like, oh, that's cool. But when Billy did it, it was like, oh, I know him. And he got like 9 million views. And at that time, it was like 9 million.
It's a lot.
Like that was like a blockbuster movie getting $100 million the opening weekend. Like that was insane.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what can we do that hasn't been done before? And nobody done Stuff Black Parents Say or Stuff Black Church Girls Say. And we posted both of those in the same night, and they both got 1 million views each.
That's crazy.
And that was like 2012, I believe that was. That was insane.
Yeah.
And that was at the time where you could only really watch videos on YouTube.
Right.
So that means everybody, I mean, you could post links on Facebook, but I don't think, that was it. There was nobody to rip it. So everybody was watching on that one place. And I remember thinking, like, my life is going to change.
Yeah.
It didn't change for many years, but I remember thinking that. I had to go back to work, like, for many years after that. was like many, many years after that. But my life did change.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you, like, you bring up the fact of, even though you had that many views, your life didn't change overnight.
No.
Could we talk about, because you have done a really good job of expressing your journey of, like, what it's like to work in the corporate space, but still work on your passion and, like, pour into that. How have you been able to, one, balance all of that?
Yeah, one, I haven't.
Okay.
I believe balance is a myth. I think you don't balance things. I think you over-index on one, and then you over-index on the other, and it's like a seesaw. And I think, you know, people who are great at one thing, something suffers as a result. Like, if I have a show at New York Town Hall, and I'm sold out, that show's sold out, that means I'm likely missing my son's soccer game the next day. So, and when I'm at my son's soccer game, that means I'm not performing on stage that week. So I think, you know, I tell creators all the time, you do the best you can. And as far as working, I've been online a long time, but I wasn't making enough money to provide for a family for a long time. Like, I was making YouTube money, but it was like, I wasn't making what the big people were making. Right. Like, I was making like full tank of gas money for a long time, then like cell phone bill money, then light bill money, then maybe rent, half a rent, you know? But I wasn't making like, we out here like that, really until I started touring. That's really when it like really started to change my life. I was able to make a little bit of money, but it was always from stand-up. I didn't make my money directly from the platforms, and still to this day, it's not directly from platforms, it's from all the other stuff. So my first year, I worked at All Def, my first tour year, I worked at All Def Monday through Thursday, flew on Thursday night to whatever the city we're in Friday, Saturday morning, flew or drove to that Saturday show. Sunday morning, flew or drove to that Sunday show. Monday morning, took a shower, flew back to LA, and would go straight to work. Like,
had no off days.
No off days for a year.
Oh.
Like, I literally worked every single day for like a year. And I remember the toughest days was Mondays, because I'd fly from maybe Boston, get to LA at maybe 7 a.m., go sleep in an office or an old room on a couch.
Right.
Till work started at 9. Work from 9 to 6, 6:30, maybe even 7. Then drive home or Uber home. It was exhausting. But I had to, because one, health insurance. Two, it wasn't making enough. And I had to make sure, like, I was promoting that tour myself. So I had to make sure that if the tour failed, I would be able to pay the comedians with some of my work money.
Yeah.
And we started tour in January, and it wasn't until mid-March that I was like, okay, I've made enough that I know if I don't sell another ticket, I'll be able to pay for the comedians' flights and hotels all the way through the rest of the tour. But yeah, I worked, and I was going to do it again.
What year was this?
This was 2018. 2018. And then my wife, after that year, my wife was like, look, bro, you can't do that again. Like, it's too hard on your body.
Yeah.
But listen, I had got fired from my job before, and I was not trying to put my family in that position again.
Yeah.
And you just never know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how fast it might go away and all that. And LA is very expensive. Like, we owned a house in Washington. We moved to LA into an apartment that was smaller than our house, and it was more than double our mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So it was
just like that in New York.
Yeah, well, New York, that's the only place I can't complain. New York and San Francisco, where y'all really know what it's like. And y'all apartment be little. I be watching on TikTok. It be like, hey, this is my apartment.
200 square feet. 200
square feet. The bathroom's in the hallway.
Right.
And I be like, you live like this? And they be like, chasing the dream, baby. Like, the dream should include a bathroom in where you live.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't complain too much when I'm talking about New Yorkers. Y'all know the struggle for real.
You said your wife mentioned to you can't keep doing this anymore. When did you decide to take a leap of faith on your passions?
Man, I think I took little leaps along the way.
Okay.
But I think what happened is I was on a tour. I was on a tour with 3 other comedians. We were doing a Christian, it was called Like Your Tag. And I remember the promoter, he was trying to convince us, like, y'all gotta promote. And he, so the way the deal was structured, he was taking half of the ticket sales, and the 4 of us were splitting the other half 4 ways. And in exchange, he was like paying for the rental of the church or the venue. And if I remember correctly, he might have been paying for the hotels, but not the flights or something like that. And I remember we were making like $5 or $6 grand a show. which is the most I would ever get paid.
That's
so I was like,
pretty
boy, we
decent.
out here, boy. J's, you feel me? Capri Sun, big pouches, you know? And we had a 3-run show in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. And Houston and Dallas were selling well, and San Antonio wasn't. And he sent us like a screenshot of the tickets and how much we were making.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it, and that was the only time he had shared the actual numbers. And I just hadn't thought about it. I was just like, I'm getting good money. This is cool. I only got to do 15 minutes. I was just thinking about like my purview.
Yeah.
And when I saw those numbers, I was like, hold on. Why are you getting half for renting the church? Like, actually, I don't think he paid for the hotel or flight. He just rented the church. He paid for dinner. But I didn't know how much the church rental was. And I was like, if I go by myself, I don't even need to sell this many tickets. If I get 100% of the tickets, I could sell 100 or 200 tickets, and I'll make way more than I'm making per show. And in my mind, I quit right then.
Wow.
I finished the tour out, and I was like, I have to at least try this, because I had like 700,000 followers on Facebook at the time.
Which is huge.
Huge.
Right.
Huge. And I was like, all I need is like 150, 200 people in 40 cities at like $15 to $30. Like, I'll make way more. And I did. Like, that was the last time I went on tour that either I didn't promote or headline or share. I was just like, I can't let somebody else get this much, because he couldn't, I realized he couldn't market the show without us. So it's like, maybe back in the days, the promoter was marketing and flight, hotel, and covering every expense, and there was no way to market. Like, he had to end with the radio and the TV or whatever the case was. But because he needed us on social media, I was like, I can cut out the man and go directly, because the people are coming to see us. Like, it's my fans and his fans or her fans, we all convincing the audience to come see us. That's not going to change if I'm promoting it. And I was like, and I probably could hit some churches up who might not charge me crazy. And they didn't. They was like, well, we love you, Kev. Come on and bless the people of God. So that was the bet. That was definitely stepping on our faith reservedly, because our show went to my job. And I was on Slack. On the plane, like, the deliverables are delivered. Yes, note V2 is approved. Like, I was, like, having to be awake on the plane. Like, I was working, and it worked out.
So what would you say was, like, the first moment where you were like, okay, financially, this is it? Like, what was your first big check that you were like, whoa?
I would say it was a big, like, the moment wasn't money coming in. It was paying people out. Like, when I realized I was the employer versus the employee.
Yeah.
And I remember paying people and being like, people is paying their bills because of me.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, this is crazy. You mean to tell me if I don't pay you, you can't pay your rent? That's too much pressure.
It is.
So it's that. It's not like, here's a huge check. It wasn't that. It was the realization that people get checks from me, and then they pay their light bills, their phone bills. Like, that amount of money is required as part of their budget. You know what I'm saying? So having employees was the real big check moment for me.
On the other side of, like, your career developing and you growing, who was, like, the first celebrity to, like, reach out and show you support?
Well, that's a good question, Mama Tiff. Nobody ever asked me
Oh,
that.
thank you.
It's rare that I get a new question. Man, so many, not so many have in certain ways, but I'd say Tracy Edmonds. And I say her because she was starting a YouTube channel called All Right TV. Without her, we wouldn't have been able to move to LA. Okay. She gave us $50,000. I write about this in my book. She gave us $50,000. I didn't even read the contract. I scrolled down.
Sign.
Schedule A, $50,000. Kevin.
Right.
And me and my boy Ant and Jay, we paid off our business credit card, which was like $15,000 at the time. And then we split the other 3 ways. And then we came to LA and we had another show we were going to be doing. So it's going to be some income
coming in.
So not only did she like believe in us, she invested in us.
Right.
And that allowed me and my wife to be like, okay, we can move to LA because we got this money coming in. We're going to be doing stuff with the Boys with Awesomeness TV at the time. So I guess Brian Robbins as well. Brian Robbins, he signed my sons to a contract to make YouTube videos.
You really were at the beginning of so many things. Like, you just saying that is crazy to me. But
And Brian Robbins is the head of Paramount Pictures now.
Yeah.
And he created all that, and he personally directed the YouTube video, my kid's first video on Awesomeness with Spoken Reasons. And now he's the head of Paramount Pictures. And it's just like, That's crazy. They were probably the two most instrumental because they helped us to move from Washington State. Because me and my wife were working regular jobs.
Yeah.
Even while we were going viral, we were working regular jobs. Our kids were in private school. We were so proud. They went to a little Lutheran school. There was like 8 students in my son's class. They had their own iPads. The teacher used to put anointing oil on her on her hand and anoint them and pray for them as they left. And we was like, boy, you can't tell us nothing. And then we moved to LAUSD. My son's first day in school, a kid got grabbed and thrown against the lockers. And he was like, can we go to my old school?
Oh, no.
I was like, nah, brother, you got to find out what life is really like. In the streets of LAUSD, 35 kids to a class, no chocolate milk.
It sounds like it was a family effort, though.
For sure.
To get out to LA.
For sure.
And that was the goal?
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal, to like, you know, see what the best version of our life could be.
Yeah.
And we had a good version in Washington, but like, it took a leap of faith to see what the best version of that could be. And I'm glad we did it. My wife and I submitted a plan to my wife for her review. She had a lot of good notes.
Okay.
One of my notes, Mama Tiff, people laugh all the time. I was like, house. We owned our home. I was like, let it go to foreclosure.
Oh.
Done. I'll buy you a house in cash. And she was like, or we could rent it out.
Right, maybe not.
I was like, we could rent it out. That's a good idea. Right? So we went down each list like that. But the boys had to sacrifice. They had friends and stuff like that with family and all that type of stuff. But I think we all benefited from that sacrifice. But it was for sure a family effort.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to go to 2020.
Okay.
I feel like you've kind of been a master of pivoting. Like, I've seen you, my first introduction to you was through Amanda Seale's podcast. And you were
Really?
talking, you and your wife were talking about your app.
Yeah.
So you
KevOnStage Studios.
Yes, the app. And also that was around the time that you started this comedy special in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk about, like, how you've been able to pivot through such a fickle industry?
My therapist made me realize that was a skill of mine. Because I was, at the time, prior to the pandemic, my biggest fear was like saying the wrong thing and getting canceled on the internet and not being able to do stand up and having to like give up that part of my dream. And she was like, you've been able to pivot all these different times. Because at the time in our sessions, I had basically, she knew my life story. She was like, why do you feel like you won't, all of a sudden you'll stop being able to pivot? And I was like, dang, you're right. And I think the pandemic was that perfect example. I love stand-up. I love performing live, but that was out.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, the clubs are closed. And I had a full tour planned.
Yeah.
I just started on tour. I was on like maybe my 3rd weekend when my agent called me and was like, we're not gonna, like, this weekend's canceled. So I remember LA opened up and it was like you could have a max of 20 people outside as long as the people in the house are, you know, they can be together within 6 feet apart.
Right.
You know, you could have another person. And I remember, like, a lot of comedians were doing Zoom stand-up shows, and I was like, I can't do Zoom because stand-up, you need instantaneous feedback.
Yeah.
If you're laughing or not laughing, I need to know instantly. 3 seconds is too much. Because if I'm bombing, I need to know right now.
Yeah.
Because I think y'all about to laugh, and y'all not. And I'm like, is it freezing? Oh, no, y'all weren't frozen. Okay, so that joke bombed. That's too much. So I could never get around to doing that. So when LA opened up, I was like, okay, if we did this, I performed in front of 20 people before. When I first started, like, 20 people was a lot. So, and luckily, by the grace of God, LA, it doesn't rain that much. You know, so we was outside. I was like, if we could get 20 people and COVID test them and have an audience and have them, we had the comedians, we told them, y'all got to be in the audience too. Like, we need as many bodies as possible. This could work. And the funny thing is, Dave Chappelle executed it before I did.
Crazy.
Like, I had the idea and I hadn't seen anybody do it.
I remember that. Yes.
Dave Chappelle
And he did it in
executed
his hometown, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was in, like, Ohio, and they were, like, kind of in the grass. And I was like, some people would have been like, well, I can't do it now because he did it. And I was like, perfect.
Right.
Now I can use this as an example, like, yo, this is what it's going to look
catalyst.
like. As a catalyst, and, like, to market to people, like, this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And I remember that Keep Your Distance year was more lucrative than it would have been had I been on tour. But more than that, for me, it was so special because I was able to introduce so many people to all these talented comedians. Part of my purpose, a big part of it, is giving opportunities to other people. And that's really what I've done in everything, in Churchy, in the hospital, in Keep Your Distance. It's like, here's these talented people before, in front of the camera, behind the camera. I want to introduce you to them. You know, and the new shows we're working on now, that's always what I try to do. I try to get my jokes off as well. but I definitely let people shine,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm proud of. Like, and for me, it's you don't owe me anything after that. If you want to keep your distance and this special catapulted you and you got $100 million movie, go with God. That's amazing. I ain't gonna be like, now, brother,
You owe me something.
I ain't gonna be the bad guy you got served. You will walk, let alone dance again. That ain't my place. I'm not gonna grab your knee hard like that dude did, Marcus Houston. Why you grab that baby's knee? He was a child. Why are you a full gangster grabbing the knee of a child, man? These kids trying to do it for Little Saint,
Right.
for the community center, and you terrorizing knees, man. What's going on? So that's not my thing. Like I don't care about that. We all work together, and we, it doesn't matter as long as we all win. It's fine to me.
Now, speaking surrounding like cancel culture and all that, is there anything that you feel like has constricted you as a comedian where you're just like, okay, I can't discuss this topic?
Not really, but what I have found is I don't discuss every topic on every platform. Right? If there's something serious, I very rarely discuss that topic in short form.
Okay.
Because things are usually, serious topics are often very nuanced. And short videos and tweets or threads, they don't lend themselves to nuance. And a lot of times on certain platforms like Twitter or TikTok, there is no room for nuance.
Yeah.
People are only listening for this or that. So I usually talk about it on my podcast, and sometimes it's very serious. I'll talk it on my podcast that's only for Patreon, because I realize like putting things out to the whole viewing public, the chance of it being misconstrued, taken out of context, chopped and screwed is just higher. So I very rarely do it. So like when huge events happen, I rarely now talk about them on short form. But I will usually address them on a podcast so that I can get my full thought out. But that full thought might take 15, 20 minutes.
I think it's important, like, you addressing, like, the long-form aspect, because here's the thing with That Chick Angel, which I love that podcast.
Thank you.
Down.
Thank you.
I think y'all do a really good job of covering hard news as well as pop culture.
For sure.
And I think it's important that you mention, like, you choose to address it in that way versus, like, making a quick TikTok video and then letting all these people infer to, like, well, did he mean this or did he mean that kind of thing? And speaking of, like, internet things, I want to ask you about Druski, because you did talk about Druski and him doing Whiteface.
Yeah.
When you saw that, what was just your first thought? I just need to know what your first thought was.
My first thought is Druski is a uniquely talented creative. I've followed him for many years. The thing I think I first started hearing about him was like he was doing the frat guy thing, the Kyle Rogger thing.
Yes.
He used to like pull his shorts all the time. And I remember thinking, that is such a small thing that I don't remember. I went to a PWI. I went to University of Washington. So I knew a lot of those guys. Those are the guys in my dorms. And I was like, wow, he really has that down to the specific nuance of these guys. And like as a comedian, that's how our minds work. So I remember thinking that. When I first saw that video, he had done Whiteface before.
Right.
He done the white dude who would be in the hood. And my second thought was like, boy, Druski could get away with anything.
Well, that's what I was also, I'm like, so as people, because when I say I saw very little comments of people being like, why is he allowed to do Whiteface versus like, people who aren't allowed to do Blackface. And that's a whole conversation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Blackface and Whiteface, it's not the same thing.
Right.
Because Whiteface is a black person in white makeup, right? Blackface was a oppressor making fun of the oppressed people. Right? That's how they made and the joke was on the black people. That's why people always like, what about Robert Downey Jr.? Why don't you get mad at him? Because the joke in Tropic Thunder is not about black people. That's Ryan Davis just said this in the video. In that movie, Robert Downey Jr. is an Australian man playing a white American, playing a black person. And the whole joke is how certain artists, there's nothing they won't do. They'll appropriate any culture. So the joke isn't on black people. It's on white people, right? And I think with Blackface, that's not the case. And it also has certain historical and racial implications that Whiteface just doesn't have, right? Eddie Murphy did Whiteface way back in Saturday Night Live. Martin Wayans and Sean Wayans did it on White Chicks. Martin Lawrence, he used to play Sean on Martin. Like, those don't have racial implications. They don't have, you're not punching down, right? So I think that's a big difference between Blackface and Whiteface. Druski's playing a white character, right? So that's one part of it. And the other thing is, I think Druski's almost like a cultural comedic anthropologist because he's covering so many specific things, like I was telling the frat person, the conscious rapper, the NASCAR dude, the white dude in the hood, and I could go on and on and on. He sees the world in a way that is very unique, and I think that's why he has success. And I also think he's fearless, and you need to be able to do that in the internet. I thought it was also interesting that his second Whiteface video went viral, and it was like on Fox News. His first one was only viral in his own audience.
Yeah.
It didn't reach mainstream media. But anyway, I say all that to say I'm a huge fan of Druski. He's a special talent, man. That guy is really funny.
He has to study people. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense, because the way he masters the very specific person he's trying to portray is very interesting.
And it's like, how did you interact with all these people
Individuals.
so well that you can mimic them all to a T? Like, I was watching that video and I was like, I can't tell if the white people know he's not white. Like, I can't tell if they're in on the joke or not.
Yeah.
They literally might, like, the white makeup had red sunburn on it. It was
Shout out to that makeup artist.
Man, I followed her.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know why.
You said I've been influenced.
I have. I might need that level of detail because I was like, this is really good. That was actually my first thought. This is amazing makeup.
Yeah.
How did he get on the track? He's in the people's stuff. They let him in. This is what he did with his time. So yeah, but there's so many comedians like that I'm inspired by, and he's one of them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to ask you, who's on your Mount Rushmore of internet comedians specifically?
Now, do you mean internet comedians as in they don't perform stand-up, or they are mostly known for the internet?
I guess mostly known for the internet, because some people start on the internet and then they go to stand-up and they still do both. So
my GOAT is Katie Don.
Oh my gosh.
Katie Don.
Wake that up.
Katie
I haven't heard
Don,
that name in a minute.
That she, to me, is the perfect internet creator. There's nothing she can't do. She's very funny. She slowed down on her output. I believe she lost her brother and went with some other dealt with some other struggles. But for many years, she has posted videos where I'm just like, I don't even know how you thought of this. She is a special talent. She's probably my personal favorite. Man, that's so interesting. I haven't been asked about. It's usually stand-up. Druski's up there for me as well. Mel Mitchell is really one of my favorites as well. Like, she does stand-up as well, but I found out about her on TikTok.
Okay.
She's just really funny to me. Like, in all ways, from tweets to sketches to videos, things like that. And Patrick Cloud.
Okay.
Pat Cloud he is my coworker, but his brain is a very special comedic ability, and he actually has done stand-up and is very funny, but he doesn't consider himself a stand-up comedian. But some of his videos, I'm like, your mind is very like, you are so uniquely situated. So those four are who I can think of, but I could probably name another 100. And not to offend anybody who wasn't chosen. Hey man, I love you all. But these people, those are who I would highlight.
That's a solid list.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that was great. I'm glad you mentioned Katie Don, because I've grown up watching it. Yeah.
OG, you know? But I could also give you an OG list of Issa Rae, Tim Chanarangsu, Dormtainment. Like, these are the people who inspired me when I was just working a regular job. And, you know, those people are the ones who made me think it's possible. Same with Billy Sorrells. It was just like, dang, you guys really are doing something that I didn't even know people could do. So.
Okay, now let's go back into the comedy sector in terms of, like, stand-up.
Yeah.
What would you say was the last time that, like, you bombed?
Oh, man. Honestly, I bombed it might have been the last time, but it's the most, actually probably was the last time that I'm talking about really ate it bad. And it was during Keep Your Distance. This was probably the first year. I remember I had made the mistake of, so Keep Your Distance was recorded in front of a live audience, recorded in front of audience and then streamed later live. But this particular one, we were shooting for Thanksgiving and we were recording it live, but it was basically on tape delay. We were going to put it out 2 weeks. And the mistake I made is I was making jokes to the camera and not to the actual audience. Right, so on my internet persona, everybody knows that I like pumpkin pie. It's a huge thing in my audience. I do eat sweet potato pie, but I like pumpkin pie and all pumpkin spice related activities. I had a pumpkin spice martini last night.
So this is your season.
We are up right now. They had a whole pumpkin inspired menu at STK last night. Appetizers, entrees, desserts, drinks. I said the Lord loves me. So I was making pumpkin pie jokes to an audience that was not there.
Yeah.
And it was bombing to the audience that was there. And I remember my wife was there, Tony Baker was there, my production partner Brendan was there. I'm making contact with them to like save me, and they're just like, I can't help you. Like, I looked at Liz and she knew I was bombing. She was just like, I made eye contact with Tony. He was just like,
So how'd you get out of it?
I didn't.
Oh.
I just introduced the next comedian. Like, and I remember I was like, okay, I'm bombing. I'm gonna pull my closer from like I've never done. I'm pulling my best joke forward.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. Mama Tiff, nothing could save me.
Oh no.
Closer bombed. And I edited that out, by the way.
You say y'all not gonna see this.
What? That first 10 minutes never saw the light of day. That Keep Your Distance went from graphic to the first comedian. I recovered after that first set, but I bombed so bad. And the lesson I learned there is you need to talk to the people who are in front of you first, right? And also was a good reminder, it doesn't matter who you are, how famous you are, how much love you got to work on your craft and be good every day. Stand-up is a thing where laughter is involuntary. So if it's not funny, I don't care if I loved you, I saw you in my favorite movie, I laughed the last time I saw you. If you ain't funny today, I'm not laughing today. Ooh. So I took a massive 10-minute L.
Now, I want to jump to your shows because you've had Churchy season 2 is out.
Yep.
And now The Hospital just premiered last night, correct?
Last night, yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, because I know full well Entertainment's a part of it.
You better do your research. Mama Tim, you better do your Googling. You clickety-clackety before you sat down and wrote on them cards. You clickety-clack, and I like it.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you, how closely have you been able to work with LeBron James on this project?
I have never met LeBron James.
Oh.
I've never spoken to LeBron James.
Well, he needs to speak to you.
I would love that. His name is listed as a credit on Churchy, on The Hospital. Never met the man. My favorite basketball player of all time. My personal goal, ain't seen that man, and me and him ain't been in the same room.
Not yet.
Not yet. Should happen. I did meet Steph Curry last night, though.
Oh, love that.
Love it. And love Steph, too.
Yeah.
What happened is Jamal Henderson is an executive at Fullwell, formerly Spring Hill Company. He and I met many years ago. I actually lied when I worked at All Def, said I had a dentist appointment. I went to Spring Hill and had a meeting with him many years ago, maybe 2016. But he was a subscriber to the KevOnStage Studios app.
Okay.
And a few years back, the years are a little cloudy, maybe 2020, he watched Churchy on the KevOnStage Studios app. He got my emailed me and was like, yo, we met a few years ago. I think I could help you get this sold, you know? And I was like, oh, dope, because it had been a while, and he just watched it over Christmas break with him and his wife. Me and my wife signed a shopping agreement with Spring Hill. He takes it out, and we had a few offers. It was a little bidding war.
Come on.
Per nails emoji. That's my favorite emoji. You know the nail?
Yeah.
Love it. Nails emoji. And we eventually sold it to BT, which BT Plus, excuse me, which for me as a black kid who grew up on 106 and Park and Cedars World and Rap City, all that, to have something I created and finance. Me and my wife financed that together with our own money, dreams, brand deals, and commercials.
Wow, yeah.
And to have that become a TV show, I can't even say it's a dream come true because it's not even something I ever dreamed. Like I thought I might get cast in a TV show or might sell a TV show. that I created. I never thought I would make my own and then be able to license it and then retain ownership. And then a similar thing happened with the hospital. After that, I said, me and my friends, the beginning of the hospital was actually true. We rented a hospital for 3 days. It was really 2.5 days because three full days was too expensive.
Yeah.
We had to be out by 2 on that third day. And I mean, not 2:0001, 2 o'clock. And we shot it in 3 days. And we were partnered with Spring Hill. And they was like, yo, there's some interest with BET to put this on BET Linear. And we had to re-edit it for TV. It eventually, it first aired on my Patreon. It was a massive success as far as Patreon could go. And then we sold it to BET. So it was like, again, like what I love is like, yes, I'm in a billboard in Times Square, but there's 8, 9 other people who are also on a billboard in Times Square. Some of them, it's their first time, so that part of the journey is the thing that really keeps me going. It's not just for me, it's for other people. And I think that's those 2 shows and the people on the billboards is like, that's the KevOnStage plan. Like, yeah, I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be probably in the front. And I want you to scale me up a little bit in the poster. They scaled me great in the hospital. My head is big in Times Square. I took up the middle of the frame. But everybody else gets to be in there as well. So I think that's just, it's a dream I didn't even dream.
Well, congratulations. I think it's huge, especially you getting your second series now with BET Plus. Before we wrap, where can the people keep up to date with you the most, day to day?
KevOnStage, probably whatever platform you use, KevOnStage, except I think TikTok is KevOnStage TikTok. Somebody stole my name on there. But I think probably the best is Instagram.
Okay.
Because I post content on there, but the announcements are on there as well. So KevOnStage on Instagram or Twitter. But I'm on KevOnStage, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, YouTube. But if you only have one, do Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I could have talked to you forever.
No, this was great. I had a great time.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You're
so
very good at this.
Thank you.
You are really good. Every interviewer is not good.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna say no name. I ain't saying no name, but you don't fall in that bucket. You on your way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everybody, KevOnStage. This is Mommy Tiff here with Complex News. Until next time, peace.
This was great.